Okay, so all right then. Well, good luck and talk to you at halftime. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Should I turn my phone off? No. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Yep.
Why not? Afterwards.
Oh, I saw the Glenorchy police put out a release after that game. Missing person, Daniel Allsop. No one could find him.
Yeah, and again, the reason he was in was no Matt Nowicki, and no Matt Nowicki again 4 nights tonight. Rumoured to be in the Solomon Islands currently, so there'll be a slightly different look up top.
He loves to get himself suspended before a big game, does Nowicki, and out again for this one for the big angry fella. And I reckon you're being a tad harsh on Danny Allsop there. It's very hard to get involved when you're presenting short and they're knocking long balls over the top of your head. Anyway, we'll see who plays up top tonight for Knights. I suspect Rowan Heggie will be the man leading the line. He looks a bit like Olivier Giroud, and I think he'll be the one trying to mimic him up top tonight. And big question marks.
Been off in Queensland or something, has he?
Yeah, he was for a while. He's been back down here. Started the season playing for Clarence, and then he's moved across to Knights in the second half of the season. So he'll be playing up top. Little DJ Heggie, and he led the line last week. Played a hand in both and 2 of their goals, so in some decent form. We'll have a look at the teams taking part this evening, starting with the hosts. As we mentioned, no Jacobs Glenorchy, a massive omission there. He's up in Sydney, so the question mark will be who leads the line tonight. And without Paul Stevens, it means Lucas Hill probably has to play in defence too, so it might be a Warren Waddell or a Joffrey Nkoso, maybe even a Huwandi type as a false 9. It'll be one of those nominal midfielders who'll be playing in attack tonight. Lucas Hill was floated as an option, but with Stevens out, doesn't need to play in the heart of defence. Tommy Bellini's one who could play in that role. They might well be rotating in and out of the 9. He's
Very talented young player.
He's been in some good form, young Tommy Bellini, as number 22, Jakob Gull. He was huge last week. He really is the reason they're in this semi-final. Absolutely came to his side's rescue with a huge double save in the 94th minute last week, and that was after making some pretty good saves throughout the game. The People's Champion, Shay Hickey, getting a start. He'll come in just to add a bit of experience to the midfield there.
Could slot him as the striker, a bit of pace behind the lines.
Oh, yeah, he'd the old Italian-style centre forward, maybe.
That's right.
So he'll probably be partnered in midfield by number 6, Nicholas Mearns, who's starting to get back to full fitness and back to his best football.
Playing with the injection today, or is his foot come right?
I don't think he's having an injection. I'd be surprised if he was getting injected for this one. I think he's just about recovered from it. It's obviously been a pretty tough last 18 months for Mearns, a player who was really one of the top few players in the state prior to his injury troubles. Another one who could be in midfield or fullback, Mark the Business Altman. He's been thrown around all over the place and might be back in at fullback tonight. We'll have to wait and see. I expect that maybe he and Joel Samet will be the fullbacks in that lineup. And then you've got Hugh Undy, who will be in attack somewhere. He was fantastic throughout the first 2 months of the season. He's here, another one really derailed by injuries. He's back out there, and he's going to be very important for his team tonight, as will the captain, number 8, Jake Vandermeer, who will partner Hill in defence, we reckon. Number 7, Oren Wadawu, the postman. Well, he won't have Glenorchy to deliver it to, so he might have to just mail into the back of the net himself. We'll be expecting big things from Oren Wadawu. On the bench, very young-looking bench there. Adam Alexander, Jacob Lehman, Jonathan Malungala, number 1, Mitchell Stalker, the backup keeper, and 14, Kyle Vincent.
Yeah, still trying to... A few interesting ways Kenny Weston will line this team up without that focal point of Jakobs Glenorchy, who's played pretty much every game this season, and it's a humongous out when you lose a 20-plus a season goal scorer such as him. They'll be relying on the postman, on Nkoso cutting in.
The General Sherman has overcome a bit of an injury scare to be in this game, and that is big news for the Knights. One of the best midfielders in the state, and he will be just sitting in front of the back four, just spraying the ball around the park. And on such a short ground, he can sit deep and still unlock defences.
I think he could score a goal from halfway too, because one of my favourite moments of just the Tasmanian season of football was seeing the big General Sherman wrap his foot around a free kick at KG5 in the Lacquer Cup. That was just one of the extraordinary moments of the season. And yeah, with big Foley boy down, he'll have to really step up in the middle of the park too and really insert himself and show that physical presence that Knights have become a bit renowned for this year.
Yeah, they certainly love to give the sword, as we know, but no Foley's out there, and Duck Engels also an omission, so a little bit short, but so are the Warriors. Both teams will have their depth tested tonight. Cole Rain, Dinjan, Kurt Engels a pretty handy one to have on the pine.
Yeah, a bit surprised to see the Engel grinder on the pine, because he could be just about slotting in any position on the field for the Knights, but yeah, it seems that they've opted to go with the Brown brothers here today, but I think we'll probably see him coming on, and certainly been coming back from a long layoff throughout this season.
Yeah, I think he's got a recent injury which might be affecting him too, the Engel grinder. So the Brown brothers will be the live wires in wide areas. If Olympia have shown one weakness this year, it is in those wide positions, so they're going to be key. We're really looking forward to this one. A couple of tips from you before we go, gentlemen.
I'm going to say the Olympia Warriors by a solitary goal, with an absolute aerial bombardment coming from the Knights for the last 5 minutes. Not willing to give a score, but I think just Olympia.
I think I'm going to go with 2-1 to the Knights. I think that all the things that we predicted at the start of the game here, we've got Lucas Hill lining up as centre-back, certainly a position that he really had to go with, given, as we've raised earlier, the absence of big Paul Stevens at the back. But this man, Mearns, will be a big factor in this game today, but not if he plays balls like that, as we see the ball hit over the top to Brown, who just takes a little bit of it on his noggin before it peters away for an Olympia throw-in. But all the play seems to be on this hard-to-see near side for us, lads.
Yeah, doing very well at passing it, both either to us, as Jake Vandermeer seemed to be doing, or down the line. On the grandstand side here at Warrior Park, a slight rain cloud coming over as I was walking in the building, so we'll see if that has an impact at all on the match as Knights will launch that one forward. Samuel James looking to try and get in, but Vandermeer will clean that one up along with Hickey. And Kurt Engels obviously has the long throw, but he's still on the bench, and it's still got a fair bit of distance on. The Heggie nearly gets ahead to it. Touchdown from Brown. This is an interesting chance here. Pushed wide from Wadawu, and can't quite get it. It was Bellini? No.
It's Nandan, the fullback.
Thank you.
And crucial intervention from Warren Wadawu there. Just did enough to put Brown off. I thought it was going to sit nicely for him to put the boot through. Just hesitated for a moment and allowed Wadawu back in, who gets on the ball and just to drive this defence. He threads it down the line for Undy, who's hit the deck there, but nothing doing in the goal kick. The decision.
Yeah, disappointing there, because that was a really, really good error on Heggie, and Heggie wins the free kick for the Knights in probably almost the kind of spot where they'd be looking to reel in a big free kick, just about, but we'll take it short this time.
Yeah, I'd expect a fairly direct style this evening from the Knights. That's the way they usually play on a pitch like this. It should suit them as Ben Phillips gets on the ball and drives forward here. He's got Sherman free short, opted to go for Heggie. Ortman steers that away back. So Phillips across to Nandan. Sherman looking to get himself involved in the contest. He threads it down the line from Brown, but it was a poor pass from the general there. His winger no favours.
So how much did South win by?
3-0 for people who might have missed that one earlier. A pretty convincing display, really, if not for big Sammy Watman in the Rangers goal. Could have been a lot more. So South Hobart awaiting the victors in the final as Hickey sends this one over to the king of the handles. He takes it down and looks to run here at Harrison. He cuts inside, threading it through. Bellini now turning and sending it to a vacant back post.
Certainly looks like they've got Hugh Undy playing the furthest forward. I guess usually a number 10. He's probably Paul playing the traditional number 9 position. It was really all Nkoso had to aim for there, and he doesn't have the humongous height presence. We've seen that hasn't been a thing at South Hobart with Ben Hamlet bopping up for a header earlier. So we'll see what the service is like. You'll be happy to know, Jake, a 95th minute goal from Albie today. I'm sure that'll make your day.
Oh, it just brings a smile to my face. Do love a big target, man, and be good to see more of him next year when he gets a full season under his belt.
That's going to run out of play. Hagee not quite tracking that down with Lucas Hill for company. The Mountain in a bit more of a subdued role today at centre back. He hasn't played there for a fair while. But with Paul Stevens out, he's dropped back to what was his original position when he first burst on the scene a couple of years ago.
He slotted back in there last week after an injury. I'd expect, I mean, that's where he plays his best football. I think ideally Olympia would like him. It was more due to injuries further up the field. He was pushed into that advanced role, but he's a centre-back, and I think they'd prefer to keep him there. And I'd expect that's the way they plan for next year around a Lucas Hill centre-back.
Yeah, I think he's certainly got the techers to play further up the pitch, but as you rightly say, I think completely agree with you that centre-back is his best position as we see him play a beautiful ball over the top to Undy, who, if he'd stayed on side or just perhaps been a little bit further to the right, that could have worked out quite well for them. But that is the kind of ball that
Olympia, but
not often that you get the green-coloured clay, is it, boys?
No, it certainly isn't. Black clay as well, isn't that common? And given the strip, but he's certainly got a good throw on him as Jay Clay, and he does well there. Eventually receives it and looks to go down the line, but it's blocked by Burns, who'll have to play inside. He's got Madawu short. Goes 1-2 with the postman, who tries a lofted ball as far as Harrison. Dawu, bit of a misplaced header. In short to Bellini, jinks around Vandermeer. Heggie's still onside. He's just run out of pitch there under pressure from the People's Champion. Quick throw in taken by Olympia and eventually cleared there from Clay again.
Been liking his game so far, but certainly don't want to curse him by going too early on him, but he's going to be having his hands full with the combination of Undy and Bellini, particularly out on that left side. So really good to see the right back for Glenorchy Knights starting quite strongly out there, Jade Clay.
Yeah, a very reliable player for a number of years. Clay is Vandermeer. Again, gives an indication of the approach of the Warriors. Get it forward, get it up there quickly. This one doesn't come to anything, straight to Dimmy Nesta, who plays it to Tyler Harrison. Down the line for retreating back. Harrison carrying out a defence. Across to Clay. Bellini went with a fancy back heel, but it was only the solid Bellini behind him who picks it up and runs straight into the general, who whacks him, and then the ball gets clattered forward. So a scrappy start to this one so far.
Gonna have to work out a way to really distinguish those two Bellinis tonight, boys. So I want the nickname hats on, and for all those listening at home, perhaps on the Facebook comments, you could dish us out a nickname for Alessandro Bellini, or have the boys already gone with one?
Well, we got the salad for the Warriors, but I think the Magic Man for Knights Bellini. Both very clever players.
Yeah, it won't be too hard to mix the two of them up, while same surname, do look very different.
Interesting, the Knights this time around not going with a 4-4-2 against the Warriors, which last time around in the cup final they got belted in midfield. They were well and truly beaten there, and they've added the extra body in there today, it would seem, and probably a wise decision on the part of Franco Pravidi, with Bellini and James dropping in there, and then the Browns flanking Heggie. I think getting that extra body absolutely vital, because Nick Mearns can do a real number on them if he's given time and space, and you just don't want to go with 2 men against him. So good tactical shift from Pravidi, I think, as Wadawu works it to Bellini. Knight's there to shut that down. Sherman works it forward to Heggie. Yes, time to turn and then thread a pass through. Brown is lightning quick. But the ball on a slightly wet surface just skipped on through to the keeper.
Just a hint of offside in that one for Brown, did you think, boys? I think he almost could have played the near option there, but
I think he thought the near option was offside and the Browns run had 3 men guarding against that. Back the other way they come.
Not sure if that was the view we had, but Nick Mearns, that was a challenge there from Vandermeer. The ball from Mearns out to Wadawu looked fantastic.
Crucial challenge there from Vandermeer, because I think Brown really had the jump on Samet there. As we see the ball delivered into the box from the postman, but nearly trouble there for the Knights goalkeeper, but just lifted over the top, and I reckon that'll be a corner. And it is rightly given by the mullet of infallibility over there, but pretty crucial challenge in there from the number 2 for the Knights there, who's Tyler Harrison, isn't it?
Yes, it is Tyler Harrison. I think he got a foot onto it as well, regardless of Nesta making sure of his goal. So another corner for Olympia, their second of the game, which will be taken by the postman in the fluoro green wheels. Near post again, and a header from Hill, and then headed out by the Knights there for a corner. Crucial header at the front post.
Yeah, really looking like that one could have crept in at the near post, but typically beautiful airmail there from the postman, but beautifully rising there from Lucas Hill, and they get it going quickly again, and Shea Hickey will recycle it out again to the postman, and he's going to whip it in, but not enough on the cross this time, and Clay gets it away to Nandan. Gets his head up, and it's just belted up the line to Callum Brown. He looks inside to Heggie, and they're on here, the Knights. They've got a bit of an overlap, but well fought in the middle there from the People's Champion Shea Hickey to just delay it for a second before a beautiful ball nearly releases the Knights player down the other side, but Ortman gets it back to Cole, the goalkeeper. Really looking to press this Olympia defence, isn't he? Rowan Heggie nice and early, which is always good to see.
He'll toil hard. Worry about that. He'll do a mountain of work up top as this long ball and then in Koso direction should be dealt with by Tyler Harrison, and it is. Brown chips it inside for James. Across to the General Sherman. He sends it wide to Brown. Back to Nandon.
My sources tell me that that's well taken hold at the Knights too, that he is known as the German around the tracks these days.
The German? Well, that would be a surprise. The General, I think.
A challenge, and Undy has a bit of a whack there, but was always leaning back on that shot, so harmlessly over the top.
A couple of slips letting them in. And Undy, this one was closer to going onto the highway and in the back of the net, unfortunately.
Yeah, just took a little bit of a bobble there, unfortunately for Undy, but certainly was a good run for him to get into that position.
Nesta down the line. Samuel heads it back to Sherman. Hill for James. His touch takes him backwards and he retreats back to the reliable Timmy Nesta in net. A good game in the cup final. Nesta made some good saves that day as Harrison imperiously away to Heggie, who played it on first time, but the business chopping that one off, and the Warriors defence just in control of proceedings at the moment. The Knights playing pretty direct, and it's been largely cut out for the moment. He's scraping over there over the top. Was James coming over the biz. Goes to Mearns, who's probably the most likely player on the park to make something happen with some of those passes he's produced.
Yeah, a few lack of clear-cut chances so far. Just kind of the one for Olympia after 18 minutes as ball's thrown in towards Bellini. Have to recycle that out through Phillips. Balls from the General to play it to Harrison. Instead he goes ahead and just to find Brown. Now Nandan. Onside is Heggie. Call from the keeper, so Vandermeer leaves that one for Jakob Cole. Again, oh, look at those. That double save from last week was absolutely world class. A bit late for save of the year, unfortunately, but it certainly would get my vote. Vandermeer looks down the line, storming forward there, but Clay will shepherd that one out, and that's another misdirected long diagonal there from Olympia. Not the style of play we're used to from them this season.
Be the team hitting any great heights in the opening 20 minutes. I've seen often these games have turned into a bit of a scrap. Certainly in the cup where a goal either way will do it. I don't think they'll care too much about how it comes, as Heggie has been closely watched here.
A little bit of a shirt tug there, missed by Charlie White, and to the advantage of the Warriors, who quickly give it away. Probably a bit of justice there for the boys, and just straight offside there, Heggie, but I don't know about it. Perhaps the business just playing him on a little bit, I think, lads.
We were right down the line from that, that's what it looked like, but not
certainly not the mullet of infallibility on this side, boys, so we'll have to forgive him just that one, but yeah, I thought there was a little bit of a hint of the business allowing in Heggie there, and it certainly could have been a big moment of the game.
I think we had the best seats in the house for that call, and I certainly thought the Bears played them onside, but nonetheless, Knights will have another chance. Regain possession from this throw-in. Back to Phillips, who plays it back for Nandan. Just got the option in the middle, and barging through was Jay Hickey, who now looks to his centre-back man to mate. And Koso, who's got only running forward, but they're really missing that presence of Glenorchy as someone to lay it into and play it out to Wadawu. It's kind of that link-up play a little that I think is what's missing for Olympia so far.
Yeah, he's such an outlet for this side. Undy and Bellini and Koso, there's a bunch of people really almost rotating through the most advanced position. As Undy slides to this one but didn't make good contact, so Phillips can steer it away to Bellini. Now Sherman, who looks to thread it through for the runner Brown, but the business Ortman cut it out nicely, and Koso works it to Mearns. Ran into a little bit of trouble but kept a hold of the ball, and he's surely fouled. No, in the view of Charlie White. Now Heggie's going to chase after this one. He's really having to work out, Heggie, for not a lot of reward early in this one. He's chasing after everything, but hasn't been a whole lot of service. There's the Mountain, the long-range ball to no one.
Yeah, he might have a bit of the Giroud look, but he's certainly got a better work rate than Giroud, I'd have to say, boys. He's not been afraid to get up there and harry the keeper rather than that poncy Frenchman.
Spoken like a true despondent Arsenal supporter here in the commentary box.
Nah, I'm all about the local football, mate.
Together, and Brown has the chance to storm through the middle. Hickey, who'd peeled off, couldn't get there, but did enough to pressure Shea Hickey, who
wasn't happy with the effort there of Warren Wadawu, despite the fact that he really sliced that one off the tee.
Yeah, just wanting him to not look so bad, I think, there. Shea Hickey. Wadawu wasn't having any of that. But, the best moments have come down the right-hand side. Means and Hickey have played him in a couple of times, but without Glenorchy to pick out in the middle, haven't quite looked as threatening. Harrison hits the deck down there. That'll be a free kick.
Yeah, eventually given the foul on Clay, even though Harrison had hit the deck. Yeah, as good a player as Hugh Undy is, target man isn't really what a pigeonhole him as, so he's asked to do a mountain of work up there as Phillips lays it out to Nandan. He's got a few in short and looks to play the 1-2, trying to find Brown, and conflicting calls from the referee and the linesman. Referee's call is what'll stand, so into Bellini. Kendall Sherman's screaming for it in the centre circle, but he's thoroughly ignored, and then ignored again, but that's a lovely ball to Jay Clay, who's bombing on. He's got Heggie at the back post, goes in that direction, but slightly overhit, and Ortman manages to clear that one. Nice flick there from Mearns to put it in Koso, and pretty obvious foul there from Brown.
Yeah, really good stuff there from Brown, because his fullback was a long way out of position there after bowling forward, so perhaps a really good choice to just give away the professional foul there, and I would have expected a telling off. But now back to the plays. It's dribbled in across the face there from Warren Wadawu, and there was just nobody there, was there, lads?
There was a player that should have been there. His name's Jacob Glenorchy, and he's probably tuning in from Sydney at the moment.
He's normally the one to finish those chances, and Wadawu is getting in behind Nandon on that side. That one just glancing off his head. Zinkoso now squares it to Bellini, who tries to pick out the far post, but Nesta has that one comfortably covered, and he looks to spring the counter-attack immediately through Brown. Hickey shadowing him, and pass straight to Nick Mearns. Kills any momentum in that attack. Mearns to Altman, to Adawu. Now Undy. Adawu again looking to get him behind. That time Undy shut off, and then some fancy footwork that achieved exactly what a simple back pass would have. As Mearns.
I don't mind it from Undy.
It certainly looked good.
Yeah, why not show off if you can pull it off? But there'd be a few coaches every now and then who wouldn't be too happy to see that.
2 5s going at it here, and Koso and Clay also in there. There's Brown just tracking back and won the free kick. Just got his body in the way. Really intelligently done by the winger there.
Probably his 3rd foul that he's given away so far in the first 27 minutes of the game there from Declan Brown. So I just wonder if Charlie White will have a word to him at some point, because they don't mind getting the accumulator going the Knights, and I'm not talking about the gambling.
Too true as the postman chips that one forward to Bellini, who's in an acre of space and is onside. Managed to get behind, and that's a cool finish from Toby Bellini. That salad is questionable, but there is nothing wrong with that finish, gentlemen.
Oh, the salad is quality, and the finish is quality there from the young man. Didn't it just sit up nicely for him? And then it was just as simple as putting his laces through it, placing it into that top left corner, and Francis's annoying horn thing goes off at Warrior Park.
He's got acres of space. The defence thinking he was offside, and that's a classy finish outside of the boot. Just lofts it over the top. Brilliantly done. He's beaten the offside trap. The Knights defence caught really flat-footed there. It's 1-0 Olympia, and that's the first real clear-cut chance of the game. And our first goal. So the Knights having to chase it. And that was a really basic one to give away. Just
if I was to be a bit pedantic, I would have to say that Phillips probably committed a little bit early to that, and then left them in all kinds of trouble, as I think it was James was attempting to get back and cover it, but had all the time in the world there to place what was a really good finish there. Bellini, really talented young player, and he's got his team a goal to the good here. Can the Knights respond?
To make something happen in the middle here, but Bellini coughs it up to Shea Hickey. Altman under a bit of pressure there, but he retreats back to Jakob Kell, who drops it off to Van der May. Captain ships it down the line. No one's getting on the end of that.
I mean, that's where most of the balls have ended up so far, but I guess they've had one that's been successful so far and was put in the back of the net, so I guess they'll keep trying that. Conversion rate's about 1 in every 10, so we'll probably see another 9 more, I reckon.
Yeah, been looking to try to wreck both these teams. It's paid off for the Warriors. Brown has coughed this one up.
Very interesting to see Olympia play more direct. It's just not what you anticipate from any Western team, or at least how they were playing the first few weeks he was here.
Any word on what was wrong with Hugh Foley in the lead up to the game?
Just that the Knights had a number of people who had injury clouds after last week. He might have even been subbed off during the game last week. Obviously he had a different one, but they certainly had a few who were battling to get up for this one, as Brown's searing pace takes him in behind again, and then cleverly wins the corner for his side.
Jet powered there, wasn't he? Certainly fleet of foot there was Brown, and just absolutely hammering it up the wing, but cleverly won the goal kick for his side there with a nice piece of skill off the back heel, and they'll be looking to hit back quite quickly here, the Knights, and corner could be a good place to do it because they're a reasonably tall side.
And they've put pretty much every player up as well, and Olympia have given everyone back as the corner goes in near post. Cleared from the goal scorer Bellini, and his opposing Bellini got the final touch. So
it's a really good clearing header actually from Bellini there, to give the young lad some credit, because he can certainly let them just snick on off your dome and can cause chaos in the box, but really got enough on it to get it right over the top. So full credit to the young lad, who's probably been the best player on the pitch so far, I would say.
Fascinating setup of that corner though. Ben Phillips back on halfway, and then every other player was inside the box or just outside of it. It was 19 people crammed up in there. It was a real clown car type setup with Ben Phillips playing deep safety.
Can't quite do a whole lot with it. For an Olympia throw on halfway. To be taken back to Van der May, who will eventually tease it out to his goalkeeper. in the fluorescent pink outfit. Not quite as loud as Watman's today for Northern Rangers, but still plenty loud enough.
There's a louder kit than that.
Just a complete fluoro orange.
Yeah, shorts, socks, 50% of the shoes. It was the lot.
Though the theory,
Sure, it wasn't a council worker that strayed in.
very impressive goalkeeper for a council worker. I'll tell you what, the theory behind those fluoro outfits is it catches the striker's eye and they're more likely to hit it at you rather than away from you. But the South Hobart players were putting it well away from him and he was still pulling off the save. So I'm not sure the kid had a whole lot to do with it, but it was an absolute masterclass in keeping from Sammy Watman this afternoon. A good half dozen top draw saves. Probably the man of the match even in a 3-0 loss.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. As Alexander finishes the ball retrieval into the deep dark woods of Bahrain on the far side. It's well closed down in a rather unfortunate way by the looks of it from the Olympia Warriors player. Taking a little while to regain a full head of steam. Now Harrison got plenty of options out wide. It's just sort of getting the space to get it there, and they've managed to do it. Now General Sherman, and on the bike with Dawu chasing. Did well there with Dawu, prevented him making that pass and forced him to go all the way back into defence. His ankle's broken there. Did the Olympia play nearly a touch for Brown, but Cole playing that one up rather easily. Julian Lucas Hill's defence right back to the goal line there, and the very, very long jog to regain position. And he's got 4 players streaming forward, goes the step over, and he's probably hit that one a little bit too hard, I'd say. Cole hasn't really had too much to do other than kind of playing that sweeper-keeper role, really. He certainly had a lot more touches with his feet than he has his hands so far.
I thought we were talking pre-game about this pitch heading into the game, that we thought it would probably suit Knights, but the way they're playing with the pace of the Browns trying to get in behind, there's just not enough room for them. The pass has been collected by the keeper, and almost feel like KG5 would be working better for the Knights in this instant.
Yeah, I think I'll have to throw out the window what I was saying in pre-game, because I completely agree with you. It's certainly harder to play a ball in behind when the two centre halves and keeper are so close together that pretty much one of them is going to pick it off on every occasion so far, despite the pace that both of the Brown brothers bring into the equation for the Glenorchy Knights. So see another long option out here, but cut off a little bit by the business, but it eventually falls to Brown and he wraps it around and it could be in trouble. Lucas Hill has nearly scored one of the great all-time own goals right there, you'd have to say, boys.
That is certainly one of the more audacious near-own goals you've seen. He'll claim he's meant it, but...
That would have been move over Mario Mandzukic. That was a pretty extraordinary clearance at the end of the day.
Yeah, that would have certainly made things interesting, but we'll see what Knights can do from the corner. Still got 7 in the box as well, and that's just hit near post. Bit of a miscommunication there, but Jacob Cole ends up picking it up, and if you're going to have 7 people all run to the back post, you'd want to at least put the ball to the back post.
Oh, beautiful. Really well defended there.
It matters not. It's Olympia 2, Glenorchy 0, Lucas Hill on the score sheet.
And we just see Brown out there having a word with the mullet of infallibility after this one. We certainly weren't in a good spot to pick it, and we're certainly not infallible, but certainly look to be onside. Just what I was thinking. Yeah, really hard to tell from that angle, but probably onside, so we'll give the attacker the benefit of the doubt there, I think.
Don't know, from that vision it's tough to say, but might have strayed in behind, but
certainly he got himself into a really good spot there at the far post though, Lucas Hill, and I certainly wasn't expecting him to pop up in that position since he's lining up at right centre back, but the benefit of having so much time up that end of the pitch is that he can just bob forward at will, and he has struck home really well there, Lucas Hill.
And he just stayed up from the earlier corner by his time, and then it was Johnny on the spot to double the advantage, and Olympia firmly in control of proceedings now. A 2-goal lead in the shadows of half-time. They've looked the more likely side, and they've taken their chances, the Warriors, as Hill wins this one out to Mearns, who's been so impressive. One just a little bit short for Wadawu, and now Brown will drive it inside.
Bit of a hint of offside.
Speaking of which, but maybe a leveller anyway. Here's Tyler Harrison. Rowan Heggie turning onto that left. Sends it for General Sherman. He goes across to Nandon. Back again to Sherman. So try and break through this well-organised Warriors rearguard. They're not going to get past Mearns like they just turns beautifully the other way. That's the perp from Mearns. And the ball might pick out Undy. Nesta well off his line. Undy's got it and it's going to be 3-0. And it could very well be game over before half-time. The Warriors absolutely clinical. Nesta got himself in all sorts of trouble.
I don't mind the celebration. Was that Nux to mum or something like that?
That's mum and the sister there. He's gone over there. And Hugh Undy, the family celebration. And I think his family will be heading to the League Cup final next weekend.
That's beautiful stuff. Got to get around your mum when you get a goal. But yeah, you've got to say you wish Nesta had done a little bit better there. But
A little. Some contact on the ball might have been nice. He's in an opportune moment to have a big fresh area there.
Yeah, certainly one of those moments. Yeah, beautiful Nux to mum, I got to say. That's probably my favourite celebration.
Cleany goal
That
again.
is a really good goal.
Yeah, he did well to get the laces and wrap it round into the top corner. From before then, no real clear-cut chances, and then after that, it was all one-way traffic. With Olympia scoring 3 fairly quickly, and look, they've got one foot and 4 toes in the League Cup final, I think, as calls for offside on that goal. Still, I'm really none the wiser. I don't know about you, gents.
My inclination is he was offside just from that picture, but we've not got the full defensive line, so we can't say definitively, but I didn't see anyone from that one that was playing him on.
True, and then we'll go down as a bit of a howler of the season there from Nesta. He's not got much purchase on that,
Not so much
unfortunately.
about the goal that's scored, but the celebration here, I reckon this is the highlight of the moment. Straight to the fans and straight to mum. Big Nux for mum.
Oh, gives the sister nothing.
Yeah.
Not getting a bar there, mate. You play for Zebras, you don't get it on my celebration. And that will do us for the first half from Warrior Park. Olympia firmly in the ascendancy. Can the Knights turn the tables, or will we have another South Hobart Olympia final? Join us for the second 45 shortly.
Hard up the touchline, so good signs early from him. You just see probably a foul there on Mearns, and rightly given by Mr. White.
Yes, we've got Wadawu over this corner kick. First one, day near post header, and over the top there from Vandermeer making a...
Lays it back for Clay. Chips it in the Heggie direction. Collides with Lucas Hill. Free kick going against...
I think Brown really had the jump on Samet there, as we see the ball delivered into the box from the postman, but...
He cuts it back for Mearns and a little bit of space at the top of the box. Mearns skips in there and drives it across the face. It'll be a tap home. If he's onside, it's 2-0. And he is onside. Lucas Hill, the mountain. Well, bundles beautifully the other way. That's the perp from Mearns. And the ball might pick out Undy. Nesta well off his line. Undy's got it and it's going to be 3-0. And it could very well be game over before half-time. The Warriors absolutely clinical. Nesta got his...
Knights midfielder just didn't see it coming, and just thought that Warren Wadawu could have been in there.
Offside he was.
Offside given by the mullet of infallibility.
How's it going? I got it.
I just need you. Where are you?
Down here.
Can that hold?
Yeah.
Can't see.
Oh. Did you turn it off and on or not?
What?
The how unit while you're
Yes.
changing, yeah?
I turn it off.
Yeah, and then
Always
it
do
runs.
this. Yeah. Might as well keep it because you may need it.
Yeah.
No, we may.
Oh, you mean, okay, that I would have to change
In the
it
lock
back,
talk,
yeah.
so give them some bells, there's the door.
Uh-huh.
So I might have to change it.
Alright, okay.
Sit down again.
I'll put it in one.
You took this off? Or?
I took it off here.
I'll just put it in the Hessian bag, okay?
The back there?
No, the cover.
Oh, the cover, yes.
Seems to be going well. It's good. I was going to get you coffee. I'll give you a picture.
You gave me the battery back, yeah, the one which we just changed. Yeah, you did.
It's going to be a camera battery.
Camera battery. Oh, we can have a look, huh? It's on a tower.
Something.
Yeah, so it should be okay.
Are you not falling asleep?
No, I'm not sorry. I'm just feeling like I'm choking. Anyway, all good.
I'm going to go.
Yes, I can. Okay.
Play on! Tomorrow!
As the mullet flows beautifully out on to resume his duties as the linesman, greatest linesman in the state. We see the game about to get underway once again. Can the Knights conjure up a miraculous comeback, lads, or are we going to see a little bit more of the Olympia Warriors taking their turn to give the sword?
I think it's just about game over. The Knights are going to need to strike early here. For there to be any hope in this one, the Warriors with a massive 3-0 advantage as we head into the second half. And Vandermeer volleys it down for Bellini, scoring that lovely outside of the foot volley.
We're going to go and be optimistic here and say that they're kicking to the scoring end now, Knights, so we're really going to have a game of it. So I don't know about you, Andrew, but I'm trying to keep the excitement rolling in this game. Not penciling in the result just yet. It may be 3-0, but there's still 45 minutes to go. And this Knights outfit are not one to go lying down. Certainly the worry for them could be a red card perhaps dished out as one of them that gives the sword a little bit too much.
You never know, could be another Rafa Benitez
coming back.
inspirational speech at half-time, a la 2005 Champions League final. If you want to keep the optimism going of 3-0 down at half-time.
Yeah,
Can't think of too many other times it's ever happened.
If Olympia want to go full AC Milan and just implode, sure. I don't think they will though, but we'll see. The Knights, if they can get one back early, it's a Green who can score quickly on him. Brown's off here and he's got a great chance to pull it back to 3-1 here. Brown, he's in behind, he drives it home. Well, there's the goal that the game needed. 3-1, just as he did last week. Brown burns in behind and scores, and that will ignite a little bit of hope.
And I think that is exactly the metaphor that you want to go with, because he utterly burnt the defence away there, and what a beautiful finish that it was into that far right corner, boys. Fantastic work there from the number 15.
Get
Alan
one back
Brown.
early. It's
Beautiful
a
response
score
there
quickly
from
on
the
him. Brown's
Knights,
off here and he's got
on
great.
now, lads.
And they just misjudging it, and Brown
Clinical.
not catching him from that point on. So they've exploded out of the shed, and they certainly fought back in the second half of the Lacquer Cup final. They were a much better side in the second 45 of that one. And Brown certainly will give him a sniff now. It's a big one for the momentum.
Certainly wouldn't want to be conceding any free kicks in dangerous positions with the Sherman tank looking pretty ominous out there now. Certainly going to the scoring end, as we rightly raised just before, and that is a big factor here at Warrior Park.
Yeah, clearly is going to the highway end, as Matawi does well to get that out to Mearns. Nice interchange of passes there.
I think it's the scoring end because balls have a natural magnetism to try and get onto roads, as we found during every lunchtime ever in primary school and high school when we were playing the beautiful game on the netball
overwhelmed by the pace of the Brown
And he
boys.
utterly turns on the fire hose at the defence after that and gives him a great big spray. Wasn't happy there with the defence, allowing Brown in behind him, and they've changed the decision to be a goal kick here. So fantastic work there then from Nick Burns to make that the result, because I just about thought that this really could have been 3-2, lads.
Brown surging in behind and just in the nick of time gets the boot in the way, but well, the Knights have come firing out of the blocks, and perhaps Olympia have approached this half with the same mindset I did, that it was game over, and that is a very dangerous mentality to be playing with.
Maybe they have gone full AC Milan on us, and we'll see how we go here as Bellini plays a lovely chip through ball to Brown, who gets in again, and confusion at the back. Vandermeer screams for handball from the Knights midfield. Nothing given, so come clear to Harrison, who misplaces the pass.
Yeah, I don't have a witty metaphor for natural position, but the hand was in a natural position right there, so correct decision not to give a penalty. As we see Warren Wadawu jink inside, he looks to go across Joffrey and Koso, looks to play a 1-2 with Huundy, but it just gets chipped out there by the defence and falls to Mearns, who's typically holding onto the ball with ferocity. He looks outside to that ball playing right back in Mark Ortman. He's forced to play the ball back to Lucas Hill, and Hill gets his head up and drills it into Bellini. Shows off a bit of his dribbling skill. Doing a really good job here to hold on to the ball, the Warriors, but not quite on the same wavelength there as the apology comes from Wadawu to Mearns.
Well, I mean, the Knights have shown more pace and intent this first 5 minutes than most of that first half. It's making a contest of it as Business Ortman heads that one out in front of us here onto the roof. And we'll see that pace of Brown Brothers. It's always a factor, but for some reason, at the start of this half,
Big Rowan Heggie just having a big old whack at the ball there, and then flopping about like the salmon that I landed the other week out of the Derwent. But yeah, pretty fair foul there given away by Samuel James, I think it is, in a pretty dangerous position for the Warriors, and I think Nick Mearns might be a bit hungry over the top of this ball. Be interesting to see if he goes the pass or has a bit of a dip himself. He's known to score free kicks.
From this range, he normally opts to pass, but the way he's playing, such confidence. But against him having a dip, he does stand it up for the back post for Hill, wins the header, and here's a great chance. It just went over the head of Undy. Couldn't quite reach it. Well worked there, chip to Hill, back across the face. A well-rehearsed set piece, nearly coming off as the Warriors just looked to settle it down after not really coming out of their slumber in the first 5 minutes of this half.
He rose well at the far post there, Lucas Hill. Just for a moment there at least, Mount Ossa was not the biggest mountain in Tasmania. Got up to a really nice height. But they combined pretty well here, the Warriors, and puts Warren Wadawu into a pretty decent position. But although his afterburners were firing, they were quite quick enough to get on the end of that ball.
his afterburners nearly ended up in the fire pot down there in the wet area. Did very well to stop himself. Did the postman. Pressure from Bellini forces Phillips to hit that pass a bit quicker than he wanted to, and such it rolls out of play for a throw in. Taken again. Yeah, Nandan all in the back of Wadawu there, who looks to take it quickly. Onside is Huundy. Not too many options. Bellini coming up. Ended up hitting back post to Mearns, and that's a very, very crucial knee away from Tyler Harrison there.
Yeah, well done, Tyler Harrison. Got his positioning right. Mearns crashing the box. Did it well, mate. Good contact. And just gets enough of the knee on it to take it wide. So he tried to bend that one round at Dimmy Nesta.
Yeah, I think Nesta probably had it covered there, but you'll certainly be happy as a goalkeeper when you see your central defenders making blocks like that. Really good work from the young man Harrison. We'll see the postman try and curl in a bit of airmail again as he has a bit of a chat with the fans, who no doubt telling him exactly where he'd be putting it, but I think they'll be looking for Lucas Hill wherever he goes. Goes to him about the middle of the goals, falls to Nkoso, he takes a touch and has a shot, and it only goes about a foot wide there from Joffrey Nkoso. Fantastic effort from the young lad.
Yeah, just bent it wide. It wasn't too far away there from the king of the handles. Killed that one in. Warriors starting to create a couple of chances again here as they've got back on top of it. Sherman nods it backwards. Hill was there, across to Vandermeer. No surprise, Nick Mearns has been at the heart of it along with Wadawu. Two real key movers in this side. Here is Wadawu. Oh, that was very nice. Flicked it over the top of Nandan and then crosses dangerously to the back post. And again, run away by Jade Clay. Completely deal with it. Nkoso will get his foot back on the ball. Retreats to Samet. Now Mearns just showed too much of it to Brown, but Hickey is able to cover, and then a long-range loft there will go straight to Dimi Nesta. And the wind just seems like it's starting to pick up a bit out there at the moment. It's blowing, I suppose, behind the Warriors, going slightly across the pitch, but probably favouring the Warriors' end, if anything.
Yeah, probably going right to left, looking at it on the screen, and seeing the wind play a fair bit of a factor here as General Sherman steals that and creates a 4-on-3, hits that into the path of Brown, who manages to get there. What a save! Jakob Cole, but put into the back of the net. From Brown again, 3-2 and game on. 2 goals in this second half for Knights, and they are getting more than excited on the sideline. There was a great save from Cole.
Oh, the hand.
As Hickey couldn't pick out the run of Wadawu. He was threatening to do what Brown's done at the other end. Behind, this game really opening up at the moment. Also, there'll be a throw in for the Knights.
Yeah, good covering work there from General Sherman to get back and cover Jade Clay, who had gone to ground then because there were 2 Olympia players looking to get in up that left-hand side for them. So it'll be always good to see when your central midfielders are alert and aware. He's certainly been an organising factor, the General. But it's all about that man, number 15, Callum Brown so far in this half, who's on the brace to get them right back into touch.
Exciting young player he is. Pace and drive he offers. Real directness to him. He came and rescued the Knights last week in that goal in stoppage time to get them past Launceston City. Now he's bringing his side back into this contest. Player of the future, slightly heavy touch from Mundy, invites some trouble. He's able to recover it, work it to Waltman. Now Wadawu. Back to Hickey, the Warriors remaining patient. Hickey to Undy, running out of room, and now they've coughed it up to Bellini. Mandan just too far out ahead of him as numbers start to burst forth the other way.
Sherman was agonising that just to go an inch or two backwards so we could find one of his speedsters, and there's the energy and feeling in this game now with 3 Knights players trying to get around Hugh Undy. Nandan Wadawu on the ground, but eventually falls to Mearns, who's clipped in the Achilles there. No foul given. Now Heggie has to challenge with Vandermeer. Hickey, let's see what Nkoso can do. 1v1 with Clay, 5v5. Now Bellini, who might be tripped on the edge of the box, and an offside flag given. Play on at the moment with Dawu, and eventually called as offside.
Correct call from the linesman there. I think the offside was given on Hugh Undy, who was coming back from an offside position and did interfere with the play. So correct decision there from the linesman, and good to see them asserting that flag.
Just keeping on Nick Mearns at the moment, a bit proppy after that last challenge. He's starting to move a little bit free now, but for 30 seconds afterwards there, he was in a bit of pain, Nick Mearns, and he's had some injury problems, as we're well aware of. He is hobbling a bit at the moment, and that would be a massive blow. He's been so instrumental for this Warriors side tonight. He's been the best player making things happen in the midfield.
Just a bit surprised to see how high they're playing their line in this half, the Warriors, because it's really played into the Knights' hands so far, and I would have thought that being the not really knowing anything about tactics as I am, really would have thought that they perhaps could have given the shout for them to sit a bit deeper after this threat that the Browns have really had in behind, working those channels in between the fullbacks and the centre halves.
Very interested to hear if Kenny Weston made any changes at half time, or whether it just seems to have happened as that's been flicked on the path of Nkoso, who slots it home, and gives Olympia a bit more breathing room again. Bit of a scramble to get the ball to him, but a cool finish. And it restores a 2-goal lead for the Olympia Warriors.
The king of the handles picks out the far corner thought the chance had gone, begging for a moment, but he got a second bite at it. He buries it home, and that's the steadier they were after. And option in the middle eventually slides it underneath the keeper. Well finished, young fella, and that restores it to 4-2, which is the final score in the cup final, if I recall correctly. Very similar type of scoring trend, but still half an hour to go.
He just had a little bit more time than I thought that he would there, the king of the Andals, Joffrey Mkoso. He just really finished it just really clinically though. Just tucked it under the goalkeeper there, and he's on again here, running at play, but can't quite keep it in before he sensibly buys his team another 5 seconds to just start organising things. But we're still seeing Nick Mearns in the centre of the ground, looking to be a bit sore after that challenge earlier, so hopefully he will be right to run out the game. It's one of those players that we love at Slice of Cheese.
Well, we've seen why so far this game. Some of the turns out of trouble, and
the centre backs in Jakey Vandermeer and Lucas Hill pushing forwards a few times too throughout this. So when they'd got it back to 3-2 a little bit before the goal, we saw Vandermeer push on, and it wasn't in the same play that got Mkoso the 4th goal for the Warriors, but at the same time I've just thought we could just be seeing them sitting a little bit deeper and remaining a bit calmer. The ball comes through to Bellini before General Sherman, typically composed, getting back and helping his defence out there before he immediately tries to help them push out. Sam James gives the ball away in a dangerous spot, but then makes up for his work by bashing it into the face of Shea Hickey. And Koso has a pop from distance, and the ball falls away to the Knights again. And the danger man, Brown, is on the ball. Looks to go back to Nandan. Thought he would have been making the run straight over the top there, but about that from Nick Mearns to win the ball back for the Warriors before he just treads on it and falls over. See Rowan Heggie get involved and get into a good duel with the business, who wins it away, recycles it to Nick Mearns. He gets his head up and plays it up the line to Wadawa, who took a beautiful touch there to Hugh Undy. Great link-up play from the two of them before he just slips over the byline and ends that lovely passage of play.
Passage of play that started with some truly miraculous work from Hugh Undy on the byline. How he wriggled out of that and set up Bellini, I'm not sure. That was majestic stuff from Hugh Undy, nearly unlocking them. Warriors mainly on the offensive. Very much of the opinion offence is the best form of defence. If they keep scoring goals, it won't matter how many they concede.
Yeah, well,
keep going at them.
Huge Undies, big dash for the Warriors here. Not a lot on for him so far, but he has Bellini making a run. Gets his head up and goes back to Samet. Samet looks up the line to Nkoso, and he plays a nice ball in again to Samet before it's picked out to the postman. Can he play him in? Is he onside? Yes, perhaps just a step offside there from Joel Samet. Certainly looked that way from up here, and the linesman didn't appear to be in any doubt about that one, but good threatening stuff and good link-up play from the young left back.
Bombing on, joining in the attack, and Wazawa again heavily involved as Declan Brown chips one over the top, looking for the run of Heggie, who makes a distance himself there, and he wants a free kick for a high boot. There's Heggie. And also was wanting a corner.
Look at this.
Ooh, he's got a fair case.
Yeah, I think he's not really ducked that far, has he?
He nearly got decapitated by the big mountain there.
Yeah, Moore just didn't really drop his height or anything like that, just really a stoop of the head to try and take a touch, so perhaps a worthy complaint there from Rowan Heggie.
Yeah, he's had much luck up there toiling away on his own, right, Rowan Heggie, and that sort of reinforces that as another goal kick coming from Jakob Cole. And he's elected not to take it. Centre-back Vandermeer on goal kicks. We know a few of our... I know it's a pet hate of yours, but got a decent purchase on it and goes right to the feet.
Real pet hate of mine, that.
I know, as Wadawa's got a couple in the box. He's turned Nandan completely around, and Koso just fallen to the ground, and that'll go out for a throw. But I think he got good purchase on it, Vandermeer, so...
Oh, glorious shot.
Very nice camera work there from Gloucester. He's still hobbling a little bit, which would be of some concern for the Warriors, and I wonder how many minutes tick by before they think about subbing him and putting him in the Cotton before next week, as Wadamu in there and looking to cross, faked it and then drove it in near post, but shut down by Tyler Harrison, who gets it to Brown, who wanted to go himself. That was blocked off. Well done again, Tyler Harrison. A couple of good challenges he's won in a minute, and he wanted to join in the attack, but they've gone wide instead to Brown. Couldn't get around the business Ortman on this occasion, and he's won the throw in for his side. Throw taken to Bellini, just barged in the back there by Sherman. Yeah, right in front of Charlie White. He wasn't going to miss that one. Hasn't quite been able to have the influence on the game he can do. He goes to Samuel James. The Knights, have they got a second wind in them for another rally here? Brown, he's still running just fine.
Found a quarterly deduction on the business there, and he gets his head up and looks to run at him again, the man who's been the threat for the Knights. He looks to just go back there, and they're going to maintain possession here instead. Beautiful ball out to the other side from Nandan to Jade Clay, I think, and he puts in a beautiful cross to the box at the far post, but there was nobody there except for the Mountain. He's just going to knock it away to that man Brown again. Gets it going here to Nandan. Nandan gets his head up. Turns around and they just maintain possession here, the Knights, before going through Samuel James. Could be a 1-2 here for Callum Brown, but well cut out there from Jakey Vandermeer.
Yeah, very, very good clearance. Yeah, Tyler Harrison on the ball, pressured from Mundy. They're still trying to get James into the James and Brown into the play. Now, still keeping possession of the Knights. Eggy Giroud manages to get a touch for the first time in a while and slides in.
That's the Knights we like to see.
I thought you'd say that's the Giroud you like to see. As falls out to Samet, who's well shut down from D Brown, and the first sub of the game is being prepared down in front of us.
We can't run with Giroud for him. It keeps making me think about things I don't want to think about.
Yeah, we'll get on
Mearns.
The cam. It's Mearns jogging off the pitch, and number 14 for Olympia coming on.
Kyle Vincent going to enter the fray here, and I think Mearns just being given the cotton wool there. And with the cup final likely looming, if they can see out these final 15 or 20 minutes.
Cheeky little pat on the bottom for Nick Mearns as he comes off. Certainly looked to be a little bit worried about that challenge when he came off earlier and was holding the Achilles and not moving too well, but let's hope it's not anything to do with that foot injury that kept him out for a vast portion of this year. As we see some beautiful defending there from the Mountain, from the on-rushing pressure of Rowan Heggie before the business Ortman shows why he's a ball-playing centre-back and just maintains really well there before making a run on himself. Looks inside to Bellini, shows some nice footwork and has a bit of a dip from distance that never really wrapped his foot around there, unfortunately, for Bellini.
Just looking at what that changes caused. We've got Wadawu back at right back, Vincent at really a right wing position. Let's see what the champion can do. Throws in a step over and manages to win the corner, so well done from #LetShay
Really showed his experience well there, boys. I have to say Shay Hickey, because he knew that it was a good idea to get tight to the touchline there, because even if the defender was to get on the ball, he's likely to get a hold of the corner for his side, which was what eventuated. And we're going to see a switch here. It's going to be the new substitute for the Knights.
Rowan
Heggie. As we see Heggie going off, yep.
Coming off. New player for the Knights. He hasn't turned around to show his number yet. I would say that's either Coleraine or Ndingin. There's Corey Moore, whose name is scrawled at the bottom of the team sheet, which is why we didn't see that the first time, as Nesta goes as high to claim that's stolen from him. Play on, so no foul given. And hoofs that one cleared.
That's his foot on it.
What was the substitute again? Corey
Moore. He's handwritten down the bottom of the team sheet.
Handwritten.
Snug on down there.
He's also got an X on both on and off, so got no real idea there as Vincent gets into the box and drives it home. Dimitri Nesta straight through his legs, and the substitute wraps up this game and puts Olympia Warriors into the League Cup final.
Well, almost like he was playing croquet there for a second, just putted it underneath the bridge there. Beautifully done there from Vincent, but Well, you'd have to say you would be hoping that Nesta were doing a little bit better on those ones, but did a fantastic job to get into that position, Vincent, so full credit to the lad there. And I have to say, despite the fact that I called the 3-3 coming back, I don't think there's any coming back from here, lads.
Maybe the goalkeepers union, but I've got a little bit of sympathy for Nesta here. Where is the defence? He's able to just curl inside unmarked. Certainly would prefer to have been able to keep it out, but was left horribly exposed at the back. And
not quite sure where Phillips was for that one too, yeah.
The Warriors given an almighty scare by Callum Brown, who had the Knights believing, but ultimately they've been able to steady themselves, refocus, and they will be moving on to the League Cup final next week now. 5-2 the score, no shortage of goals in this one.
I think Kenny Weston will be very happy to manage to get 5 goals out of his team with Jacobs Glenorchy away in New South Wales. I think that'll certainly give him confidence. Any word if he's back for the League Cup final, do you know?
Yeah, he will be.
He will be. Well, that's going to be a very welcome addition to the Warriors team. And who do you drop is going to be an interesting headache for Kenny Weston. There's Wadawu. He's it to the mountain. Hickey. It's a return ball. He's screaming for it on the near side. As we look at it, instead it's a long raking ball. Only falls as far as Joel Samet, who has to play that for a throw-in. Trying to get a little bit of argy-bargy there, not quite on the Hammer Time Hamlet we saw in the earlier semi-final.
Yeah, good to see the young lad getting stuck in here and standing up a bit for himself there, because he got charged a few times. Just perhaps a little bit of frustration starting to creep in here for the Knights.
Bellini not happy at now getting a stern word from the referee.
Yeah. Showing his inner school principal there, Charlie White, just calling him over to the office and giving him a bit of a telling off. Perhaps an after-school detention on the way. Slightly softer than a cheese, that punishment.
There's another sub being ready, by the looks of it. It's going to be the end of Nandan. What do you got coming on here?
Coleraine is coming on.
Shows you, I suppose, how many the Knights are missing tonight. A few of these they're bringing off the bench we've not seen a lot of. A number of the usual substitutes starting. They've got a number of players out of their best 11 tonight.
Interesting that it's a left back coming off and the angle grinder not coming on. He must be quite injured for him not to come on just for the last 6 or 7 minutes.
I think with the game lost, there's no point in risking aggravating an injury. I think break glass in case of emergency type for this one. Maybe if you got into extra time, you needed him. I don't think he was in a really much chance of getting out there, and certainly with the 5-2 scoreline, there'd be very little point.
I was a bit surprised to see them take off the Nahnred, because I think he's had a pretty decent game at left back here for the Knights, and he's pushed forward pretty well.
Oh, I can answer
at
that.
Times.
I can answer that. He was down with cramp earlier, right in the spot where you can't see.
Right.
That helps explain
Fair
it.
explanation, showing just how hard he's been working to get forward, but he's also had his hands full at times with Warren Wadawu coming up this right-hand side for the Warriors.
And then Cole Vincent scoring the goal down this side as well, as that one's overhit a bit high. And got a large bounce as well. A few hardy souls still outside here with 5 minutes to go in the League Cup semi. It's looking like Olympia to play South Hobart. Both, well, South Hobart winning by 3 and Olympia ahead by 3 so far as well. See.
The NPL champions up against the Laka Seljuk Cup champions.
A fitting finale to the League Cup final.
Top 2 in the league this year, so 2 strongest teams will go at it. Should be an interesting one next Saturday at KG5. Likely time slot for that one. As Lucas Hill chips it down the line looking for Vincent.
Should kick that off at about 1 p.m, I think.
1 p.m. It wouldn't have anything to do with something going on around
I think
4:20, 4:30, would it?
I think
looks
regardless
like
regardless of that other code, I think that the game should be kicking off at 1 p.m. It's always good to have a 1 p.m. kick-off.
I hope all the Slice of Cheese fans out there will enjoy my dulcet tones next Saturday, as I may be the only one on commentary by the sounds of it.
I'll be there. I don't need to watch Sydney destroy Essendon that badly.
Oh, get out.
As we see another sub being made here. Charlie White's giving a talking to two of his linesmen about something or other. Not really sure what they're conferring about. And throw in taken, so that's going to have to hold on.
I think Charlie White was just letting him know he needs to improve the mullet on this near side. So good stuff. As we see, a great ball in over the top, which was actually not too great. Just a little bit of a young talent factory going now.
They certainly do, and I'll be interested to see how many times in 4 minutes I can butcher his name as that falls out for a Knights throw in.
I'm sure we'll just get informed after the game that we've been saying it wrong the whole time, Fundy.
Probably is. Coleraine lobs that one through. Callum Brown with a nice touch. He gets the double. Yeah, but Wadawu manages to clear and uses his body well, and he's got 3 Warriors players that need to beat him. Malungaloo in a battle with Phillips does rather well, and the chip through ball to Vincent, who's got plenty of pace. He's got Tyler Harrison for company. Checks inside, looking for the run of Ngoso. And Colin Brown manages to keep it in. He keeps his defence under a little bit of pressure. That's composure at its finest there from Jay Clay. Dawu punches that forward. Ben Phillips heads it out of play, and just a minute left here at Warrior Park.
Yeah, I would imagine there'll be a couple of minutes of injury time given the amount of goals that we've seen. 4 goals in this half already, so be expecting to see 2 or 3 minutes at least here.
There's Amanda May, who hasn't seen too much of the ball the last few minutes. Just over hits that through ball, which Nestor will take easily. He hasn't got too many options, so it's probably going to go long in the General Sherman direction, who's now playing up top. Gets in the challenge with Vander May. The mountain clears well over the head of both Malungaloo and Phillips. Harrison giving the option out wide. It's probably going to go long after this. There's not too much short. Eventually finds Moore, who plays the wall pass. Sherman playing up top, which I have not seen too often throughout his career. Clay, who's seems to have moved over to left back.
Just changing over to the Sherman tank, I think, just blasting through before the infantry get in there and try and finish off the...
We'll sweep it back to that man Jacob Lehman. He's keen to impress in his couple of minutes he has on the park here at the end. Warriors booking their passage through to the final. They'll meet South Hobart, who defeated Rangers 3-0 this afternoon to see their way through. So it'll be another battle. South Hobart have had the better of their meetings this year. They swept them in the league. Chance for a little bit of revenge for the Warriors, but South have been the standard, the gold standard this season, and they'll probably enter that one as favourites as they look to ramp up their preparations for the NPL Finals series. They'll take on the Strikers as we enter for a couple of weeks on the Tasmanian footballing calendar. The season just about in the books as Brown holding off the attention of Hill. Still some animated figures down there on the Knights bench. The game might be over. All over bar the shouting, they say. There's no shortage of shouting going on down there at the moment. And Brown won't be able to track this one down.
Yeah, you can hear him from up here in the commentary box. Plenty of yelling and passion on display down there. A couple of minutes left, and last chances, as you were saying, calling for some Tasmanian football this year. Just the 2 games left after this. Well, one in between local teams anyway.
That'll be the last fixture for the Knights. Successful year for them. The Seljuk Cup final, of course, and held on to win the Southern Championship. And with promotion coming in next year, they'll be entering next year as favourites to find their way back up into the top tier, where they've made no secret of their desire to return to. And on the end of evidence of this season, you'd say that'd be a good addition.
Yeah, you would, as they've certainly been involved in some of the games of the year as well. The beachside one we commentated a couple of weeks ago, the Lacquer Seljuk Cup final win over Devonport, I think.
Yeah,
it was absolutely fantastic. So certainly been good value to have this Knights team. As the game's just petering out down the corner there, and a ball in, and it's another one for Kyle Vincent. In the 94th minute, he'll love that one off the kind of neck shoulder, I think, in the end, and wasn't expecting that, but nice double.
Almost faced it in, didn't he? But, you know, goal's a goal. He'll certainly be happy with that, and to come off the pine and chip in with a brace, he's Always pushing for selection for the final, lads.
Oh, gone full Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on us. The super subbers. Young Kyle Vincent done rather well, and Francis's air horn goes off for the 6th time tonight.
Game, set, match, Olympia, 6-2. Comfortable win in the end after Callum Brown ignited a bit of hope with a changed the game here in this second half with his 2 goals. The second one, a fantastic initial save by Cole, and then the second finish just as good as the first into the far corner, and that just ignited the hope for the Glenorchy Knights. It was back to 3-2. They were buzzing about, they were confident. Olympia looked a little bit rattled, but to their immense credit, they would steady and they'd score 3 more times before the day was done. This was the one that really just settled the nerves a bit. And Koso, I thought the chance had gone when Harrison got across, but he remained composed, allowed the centre-back to fly past him, then stroked it home, and from 4-2 they didn't really look troubled. From that point on, the Knights' rally extinguished and the Warriors through to the final. And looking forward to that clash next Saturday between the Warriors and South Hobart. There was another one for Vincent, who came off the bench and scored a brace, so he certainly will be pushing his case for maybe another cameo next week in the big dance. We'll wait and see selections for that one, but as we draw it to a close here for the final doubleheader of the season, it's 6-2 to the Olympia Warriors, who will meet South Hobart in the final next week. For all of us at Slice of Cheese here, thanks for recalling Paul Hunt, Jake Morgan. It's a very good night, and we'll be back one more time, perhaps twice more. So we'll see you next week for the League Cup final.